Greetings, Judah. DFG here, Gideon's Flight. Hey guys, I just want to take a few minutes of your time and I want to review a subject matter that's a real problem within the nation of Israel, and in particular here on Turtle Island within the nation of Judah. And that is provoking one another to anger. And you may say, okay, DFG, did you run into a situation today? No, I didn't run into a situation today. But have I ran into many, many situations, as many of you have, and when you have been provoked by one of our brothers or one of our sisters, and it escalated to something that you had no idea that you would be dealing with prior to the escalation of that particular confrontation. And Yahuwah shares with us, even in the book of Ephesians, or the epistle, let me say that, in the letter to the Ephesians. But he goes beyond that by saying, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger. But it still has not resonated in the heart of Judah why provoking one another can end up very hazardous to our health. Very hazardous to our health. And you know, Solomon said there was nothing, in Ecclesiastes, there was nothing new under the sun. Would you all agree with that? You know, I can't give you the exact verse of it. I want to say it's Ecclesiastes, maybe chapter 11, where he talks about a time for everything. But anyway, he says there is nothing new under the sun. And what I mean by that, our people have been provoking each other to anger almost since the beginning of time. I mean, we're all familiar with the story of Cain and Abel. Am I not correct? And we have seen it in the book of Genesis where, you know, Cain slew his brother Abel and his blood cried out from the ground and Yah heard the cry of his voice. Well, let me tell you something, my brothers. That's not exactly how the story actually played out. You heard what I said? That is not exactly how that story played out. When we were taught this in these religious churches and hellholes that you have no business going into. And I know you can hear the vitriol in my voice, because every time I think that our people have been led, you know, into this wickedness by these demons, and we have embraced that wickedness called the church or called religion, it just puts a very, very, very bad taste in my mouth, because it has led many of us into a place of wickedness, idolatry, fornication, adultery. And I'm not talking about physical fornication. I'm not talking about fleshly adultery. I'm talking about spiritual adultery. And these devils in these churches, all of them, without exception, all of them have brought us in there, and they have poured these lies to us and given us half-truths, fables, and told us this is the truth. And so okay. Glory be to Yah. I'm going to pull it back in. Let me get back to provoking. You know, the book tells us that we should not provoke one another to anger. And as I was stating, when you read Cain in the Abel confrontation, you just kind of hear that Cain was jealous of Abel because Abel gave forth a better sacrifice, right? And because Yah accepted Abel's sacrifice but rejected Cain's sacrifice, there was an altercation. Well, really wasn't much of an altercation. They just tell you Cain slayed his brother. But the truth of the matter is that, you know, Cain didn't start the fight. Let me say that to you again. Cain did not start the fight. Abel started the fight. Abel was the one who was the provocateur in that confrontation between them two. Now, granted, there was a situation that occurred that created jealousy between the brothers, where mainly with Cain. And Cain did have bitterness in his heart towards Abel because of his jealousy. But there were other few things that went on. Now, how many times I've told you guys that you need to get your cipher book? How many times have I told you that? How many times I've told you there are books in here that were hidden from us to keep us ignorant, so that these lying wolves in sheep's clothing who call themselves priests and pastors and imams and rabbis and whatever the hell the rest of them call themselves, could continue to lead Yah's people astray. And therefore, they avoided this book. I'm talking about now the book of Jasher. They avoided that book because they don't want you to know all the hidden truths, all the revelations that are inside of Jasher as it relates to really all of Genesis, most of Exodus, going into the Levitical laws. They don't want you to know this, my brothers and my sisters, because if you knew the truth, then you would have a better understanding, number one, how to please Yah, number two, how to work amongst one another as a group, as a nation, so that we can extol one another to go forward and do what's right and shun what is wrong or unrighteous, which Yah calls sin. But because we're ignorant, because most of us are rather sit on our lazy behinds, asses, and let somebody else tell us something, than to take the time and show the love, to open up the heart to Yahuwah and learn the word. Study to show thyself approval. Isn't that what was extorted by Paul to Timothy? Studying the word. Then Isaiah said it should be line upon line, precept on precept, here a little, there a little, when he extolled our people to learn the law, statutes, and commandments of Yah. But in our rebelliousness, in our laziness, in our comfortability, what the fables call, I want to say witchcraft, because that's really what religion is. It's just a form of witchcraft. You're being indoctrinated with lies. It's the occult, sisters and brothers. Accept this as an offer of love. Don't allow yourself to get inside of your emotions and get envious. Accept it as love, what I'm saying to you. This is what Yeshua said when he said that Yah's people would know the truth, and the truth would set them free. That's why he came to save the lost sheep of Israel. So that what? Again, so that we can know that truth, know the truth, know Yah's truth, so that we can be set apart from religion. That's why he jumped in the asses of those Pharisees and Sadducees. And he told them they were a bunch of whitish sepulchres, but inside they were like dead men's bones. And then he went even farther, and he told those wicked wolves in sheep's clothing, the religious men of that day, amongst our people, I might add, because that's who they were teaching, our people, or they were supposed to be teaching our people, but they weren't. They were monetizing our people, as they're doing right now. Nothing new under the sun. But he said, not only have you corrupted yourselves, but you made them twice corrupted. In other words, Yah said, as wicked as these preachers are, if you're following those preachers, my brothers and sisters, you're following these pastors, these imams, these priests, these rabbis, these cardinals, whatever it is, he said, you're going to become twice the wickedness. You're going to become twofold as wicked as they are. Now, that should be enough for you to sit up in your chair and take notice. Some of my brothers and sisters who are in the hearing of my voice, you will. And then some of you, you'll go on as you were going prior to you stopping and taking a moment to hear the word, talking about this word, you'll just go right on back on to what you were doing and still stay in darkness. Still have your soul being corrupted and compromised because you can't shake the filth, the vomit of religion off of you. Because why? Because your mama passed it down, your daddy passed, your grandpappy passed it down. And in some of your cases, nobody passed it down. You just went head first, right on into it. Because you saw the advantages of it from a manipulation perspective. Whether it is to chase whores in the church, to chase I want to say, well, if I'm going to say you chasing whores, then I'm going to say some of these whores in there chasing niggas. Now, I'm sorry. If I offended you, I apologize. But they're in there for all of those reasons. And more, I might add. Perhaps to have some clout, to have some power, to feel some kind of way about themselves. I'm elder such and such. I'm evangelist such and such. Because they have nothing else going from them because they're empty on the inside. Therefore, they have to make a show of themselves on the outside. Instead of humbling themselves and going to Yah and letting Yah shape, move, and direct their paths. But this word was hidden from us in these apocryphal books so that you would not know the truth, my brothers and my sisters. So let me circle all the way back to where I was talking about provoking. And I'm talking again about Cain and Abel. Now, I'm going to say one other thing. How many of you guys know what a trailer of a movie is? When a movie's about to come out, they show you the trailer. How many of you guys know what that is? Okay? Sounds like many of you do. Sorry about that. How many of you guys know what a trailer is? Trailer is like the preview. Would you believe me if I told you that Genesis, in comparison to Yasha, if you wanted to say it right, but we're not going to get that technical. Genesis, compared to Yasha, Genesis is the trailer of the movie. Jasha is the movie in itself. Yeah, brothers and sisters, please forgive me. You know how Satan is. He always wants to interfere when the word is going forward. So I resist him, and you be patient, and you resist that too, and don't let, my little slight interruptions get in the way of your meditation, your focus, and your ears being open so your eyes can see. So I'm going to read to you the story again of Cain and Abel. But this time I'm going to read it to you with your eyes open. Genesis was taught to you to keep your eyes closed. Jasher was created for you so that your understanding would be open so that you could see clearly. Okay? And I'm going to read the same story and I'm going to elaborate on it and then we're going to be done. Is that okay with you, brothers and sisters? I know it's okay with Yah. He's put this burning in me all day. I've worked a full day, 10-hour work shift. And right now, you would think it'd be time to take off my shoes and take off my cap and fix me a plate of food and take a shower and hit the sack. Not before the work of Yah is done. Not this day, not this night, not me. That ain't happening. I'm going to come right to you, my brothers and sisters. And I will allow Yah to flow as I share with you the real in-depth story of Cain and Abel. Let's go. So we're going to start reading at Jasher, chapter 1. Okay? And here we go. It says, starting at verse 12. And Yahuwah Elohim drove them that day from the Garden of Eden to the ground from which they were taken, and they went and they dwelt in the east of the Garden of Eden. And Adam knew his woman, Eve, and she bore him 2 sons and 3 daughters. Did you know that, my brothers and sisters? Some of you knew, because some of you got the book and you've already started your study. But I bet you some of you guys didn't even know about the 3 daughters that they had. Let me go on. And she called the name of the firstborn Cain, saying, I have obtained a man from Yahuwah. And the other she called Abel, for she said, in vanity we came into the earth, and in vanity we shall be taken from it. And the boys grew up, and their father gave them a possession in the land. And Cain was a tiller of the ground, and Abel a keeper of sheep. Now, you're looking at the sheep, just so you know, Canaan is going to be spelled Qayin. So it's going to be more of Qayin, if I'm saying that right, Qayin. And then Abel will be Havel, Havel. But again, so that you can follow along and I can articulate it effectively, I'm just going to use the names that we all know. All right? Let's go forward. I'm just going to use the pronunciations that we all know. Okay? And it goes on to say, and it was at the expiration of a few years that they brought an approximating offer to Yahuwah. And Canaan brought the fruit of the ground, and Abel brought from the firstling of the flock from the fat thereof. And Elohim turned and inclined to Abel and his offering. And a fire came down from Yahuwah from heaven and consumed it. For brothers and sisters, this is the prayers of the righteous. You know, if you walk in the law, statutes, and commandments, or doing the best that you can of Yah, Yah is going to hear your prayers. And that's all this is. When the fire came down, it was because he was walking in the upright way in obedience unto Yah. That's why the fire came down and absorbed that sacrifice. In other words, Yah opened up his ears to Abel, just like he'll open up his ears to you if you're willing to obey. Remember, we talked about that a couple of days ago. To obey is better than sacrifice. Sacrifice was a natural thing, when he put out the sheep. Now, your heart is what Yah is looking for. Your obedience. You're putting your body, your flesh under submission. That's what Yah is looking now as a sacrifice. Submission to do what, DFG? To obey, again, the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yah. Not to be a slave, not to walk around with some holy-roly foolishness. No, have a genuine love for Yah. A genuine love. Okay? That's, you know what I'm saying? That's what Yah is calling for. Okay, but let me go on, my brothers and sisters. So now we know both of these men were given an inheritance by their father. Both of these men were doing, agricultural work. One was doing it with sheep, and the other one was doing it, with the ground, right? Or with fruit or plants, vegetables. Let's go on. And I just told you, Abel brought forth the first of his flock from the fat thereof, and Elohim turned and accepted his offering. And then Canaan and his offering, Yah did not accept. And he did not incline for it. Now you look at that. Now weren't we taught? Tell me if I'm lying here, my brothers and sisters. We were taught that he wanted a sacrifice, a blood sacrifice. Weren't we taught that? And that because Abel brought forth a blood sacrifice, his sacrifice was acceptable, but that Canaan was a little selfish and he didn't want to give up no blood sacrifice. In other words, he didn't want to give up none of his flock, so he gave Yah what he wanted to give Yah. That's what we were taught. Well, let's find out what actually happened here. At least that's what I was taught. In his offering, Yah did not turn or accept. And he did not incline to it. For he brought the inferior fruit from the ground. Now you heard what I just stated, my brothers and my sisters. It wasn't that he brought him fruit, because Yah said whatever a man does is honorable. You put your hands to, you're supposed to do it with all diligence. Work is good. All work is good. Why would Yah discriminate because you doing this kind of work and I'm doing that kind of work? When all these things come together. I mean, the flock and sheep had to eat something, right? The people didn't want to just have meat. They wanted vegetable and fruit too. But we never were told that Cain brought inferior stuff. In other words, he bought the rotten stuff. And that's how many of our brothers go before Yah now. They go half-heartedly. Well, I believe, but I just don't think I have to keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Or, I go to church on Sundays. Or, Yah knows my heart. That's the run right there. That is the rotten fruit. That one. Thank you, Yahuwah. That is the rotten fruit. Yah knows my heart. Yet Isaiah said, who can know the heart of a man? A man's heart is desperately wicked above all evil, and he has no understanding of it. He said we don't even understand our own hearts because it's so desperately wicked. And yet these devils will come to you and I as a rebuke when we bring forward the truth about being obedient, and they'll tell us, well, you can't judge me. Yah knows my heart. Yeah, he does know your heart. The problem is it's a wicked heart, and you don't have enough sense to know it yourself because you want to examine your heart by the word. See, the word examines your heart. It allows you to know if your heart is rotten or if your heart is pure, or as the scriptures say, perfect before Yah. I'm not talking about you as a human being. None of us are perfect, but perfect in terms of love, perfect in forms of desire, perfect in terms of doing the best we can to obey, again, the laws, statutes, and commandments of Yah, regardless of whether or not we're in agreement with it. Who cares if you're in agreement with it? You think Yah is sitting down and saying, okay, well, all right, let's give Dale some time or DFG some time to reflect on it. Or Tammy, or Sally, or George, or Ricky, or Ronnie, or Jake, or Jonathan, or Frederick. Yah is not taking that kind of time to assess whether or not you're going to get it right or whether or not you're going to obey. Now is the time. The day is the day. He said, the day you hear my words, harden not your heart. But what these devils do, oh, Yah knows my heart. You can't judge me. Okay. You're doing the same thing that unrighteous Cain did. You're bringing inferior produce to Yah. That's what you're doing. You're giving him the leftovers. I'm going to do all these things I want to do, and then when I'm finished living my life and having my fun, then I'm going to come. And Yah said, yeah, when you get there, you're going to find the door slammed shut. That's the word. That's what happened in Noah's day. When they finally decided that they were going to listen to Noah because shit had hit the fan, or they all wanted to get in. But the problem was, Yah had shut the door and sealed it tight. No one was coming out. No one is going in. And on your day of judgment, my brothers and sisters, or your day of expiration, they call that door is going to be sealed. And unless you be reprobated, that is what you have to look forward to. Because if you be reprobated, it's already sealed. What is reprobated? Ever knowing, know it all, but never can accept the truth when they hear it. Let's continue with the story. Praise Yah. For he had brought from the inferior fruit of the ground before Yahuwah. And Canaan was jealous against his brother Abel on account of this. And he sought a reason to slay him. In other words, he's looking for an excuse. That's just how many of our people are right now. If they disagree with something, or you disagree with them, they're looking for some way to slay your character, to slay your reputation, to scandalize your name, and in some cases, physically harm you. Physically harm you. A pretext to do it. They needed to do it because it was already evil inside of their heart. They just needed an excuse to act it out. That's why Yah said we shouldn't provoke one another. Because see, when you provoke one another, you give Satan access. You give him the ability to act. And Yah will not defend you because you're provoking it. That's why it's very important, my brothers, to use discretion. You follow me? To be prudent. You don't just go and be the aggressor, for no reason whatsoever. You don't provoke your brothers or your sisters. And sisters, you don't provoke other sisters. If you do, you're just like unrighteous Cain. Or maybe not. Let me say this the right way, because I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. So we're going to scratch what I said, that you're just like unrighteous Cain when you're provoking. Let's see who you're just like. Let's go farther. So Cain looked for a reason to slay him. And sometime after, it doesn't say how, it could have been a year, it could have been 10 years after, it could have been 20 years after. And sometime after, Cain and Abel, his brother, went one day into the field to do their work. They were working in the fields. And they were both in the field. And Cain was tilling and plowing the ground, and Abel was feeding his flock. And the flock passed that part which Cain had plowed in the ground, and it sorely grieved Canaan on this account. So what he's saying is that some of Abel's flock went over on and crossed the property line of Canaan. And Canaan didn't like it. He was like, you need to keep your goat, your sheep over there. They off of my property. No different than you telling somebody, look, don't come on my side of the yard. Or look, don't come in my yard. Or, you know what I'm saying? This, you know, you live over there, you stay over there. I live over here, you live over here. If they have animals, the animals come in your yard to poop or whatever, tell me you're not going to get provoked. You're going to tell them, look, you need to tie that dog up or keep that dog on a leash or do something with that dog, because the next time he come over here, you know, we're going to have a problem. At least your dog might have a problem. Sorry for the dog. Well, no, I'm not. Let's go on. And Canaan approached his brother Abel in anger and said unto him, what is there between me and you, that you come to dwell and bring your flock to feed in my land? He's like, what's your problem, man? This is how conversations happen to us with people all the time, right? Somebody, you know, provoke, and then you come back and, hey, man, what's your problem? You know, same thing with your sisters. You know, who you think you're talking to? That's our way of saying, what's your problem? Who you think you're talking to? And this is what's going on with them. He's telling them right now, hey, what's the problem here? Why aren't you keeping your sheep over there on your land? Why are you bringing them over here? You see I'm working. You see I'm busy. I don't need your sheep trampling where I just finished tilling. They're messing it up. I've got seeds down here. And you don't seem to be taking any responsibility of managing your sheep. This is what Cain is saying to Abel. Now look at Abel's response here. And Abel answered his brother and said unto him, what is there between me and you, that you shall eat the flesh of my flock and clothe yourself with their wool? And now therefore put off, look at it. See, now you see what's going on. Now, all Cain is saying is, keep your damn sheep off my goddamn property. That's all Cain is telling him. But there come Abel and say, look, don't tell me nothing. You wearing my clothes, you eat their food, you know, you eating the food of this. So, you know, I don't want to hear none of that stuff from you. Don't tell me nothing. Think about it. How many of you guys had those kind of confrontations? You're trying to tell somebody something right, and then they throw back in your face all the things that you did wrong. How many times that has happened to you? You're trying to tell them right, and they gunny sacking. That's the term that was brought to my attention to come to you. They're holding all this bitterness in, and now all of a sudden they're just going to throw it out on you, and they're going to tell you about everything you ever did to cover up the wrong that they're currently doing at that particular time. This is what Abel did to Cain. He gunny sacked him. And guess what? Cain didn't like the idea of it. He like, well, now, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Now you see, this is long past the sacrifices, my brothers and sisters. See, in religion, we were told none of this. We weren't told that this is long past y'all accepting one, rejecting the other. This is long after that. This confrontation is not about that. This confrontation is about what we're talking about right now. One not respecting the territory of another. And then when he's questioned about his behavior, he provokes his brother. Who? Abel provoked Cain into this confrontation. That's right. But we were told the other way around, in reverse. Why? To confuse us, so that we would never understand how that evil behavior corrupt good manners. It was to confuse us, so we would never have anything to gauge our own behavior by. Especially when we start bringing up the past and attacking somebody just because we don't like them confronting us or correcting us about our behavior. It happens all the time, my brothers and sisters. See, that is a lesson inside of the lesson. But they don't want us to know this. That's why they hid this from us. But let me continue on. Then he goes on, therefore now put off the wool off my sheep. Now this is Abel talking to smack to Cain. Take off the wool of my sheep, which you have, clothe yourself, and give me money for the fruit. Give me money for their fruit and their flesh which you have eaten. And when you have done all of this, amen, praise Yah. Let me go back to 19. Let me read this again. My excitement may be getting the best of me, getting ahead of me now. Let's go back to verse 18. And Cain approached his brother Abel in anger and said unto him, what is there between me and you, that you come to dwell and bring your flock to feed in my land? And Abel answered his brother Cain and said unto him, what is it there between me and you, that you shall eat the flesh of my flock and clothe yourself with their wool? And now therefore put off the wool of my sheep, which you have clothed yourself, and give and compensate me for their fruit and their flesh which you have eaten. And when you shall have done this, I will then go from your land as you have said. Isn't that some shit? Now nobody talks about, look at what this younger brother is saying to his older brother. His older brother is saying, you're in the wrong here, and the younger brother getting in his face, talking a bunch of smack to him, and well, take off this and give me that, and until you give me what you owe me, I ain't doing a damn thing that you said. That's the righteous Abel that we were taught about? That sounds righteous to you, my brothers and sisters, but that's what we're told, that Abel was righteous. But how could he have been righteous, provoking his brother to anger? This same thing applies to any of you. If you're out there provoking a brother or a sister to anger, then you are unrighteous. Let me say that again. If you are provoking a brother or sister, regardless of who it is, you are acting unrighteously. And Yah will judge you for that behavior, as he judged Abel. What was Abel's judgment? I think we already know what his judgment was. But we never had it, but the dots were never fully corrected for us. Let me go on. He says, and Cain said to his brother Abel, surely if I slay you this day, who will require your blood from me? See, now he's mad. Now he's saying, look, if you keep talking this smack to me, I'm gonna hurt you. You better watch who you're talking to. This is what he's telling them. You need to be very careful. You are about to push me just a little bit too far. And there ain't going to be nobody come and save your ass when I put my hands on you. Now, we've heard that kind of talk out in the world. We just real talk here. This is the truth. This is the real word. This book is real. This ain't religion. This ain't churchy talk. This is real talk, my brothers and sisters. This is how it happened. This is how it happens. Verse 22. And then Abel answered Canaan, saying, surely Elohim, who has made us in this earth, he will avenge my cause, and he will require my blood from you should you slay me. For Yahweh is the judge and the arbitrator. And it is he who will require man according for his evil. That's true. And the wicked man according to his wickedness, that he may do upon the earth. That's true. And now Abel goes on to say, and now if you should slay me here, surely Elohim knows your secret views. He knows what you're thinking. It's been on your mind. And will judge you for the evil which you did declare to do unto me this day. In other words, he's saying, I dare you to do it. What that little, I double D dare you? Remember that movie, The Christmas Story? I don't believe no damn wicked ass Christmas. But I think I remember the little kid got his tongue stuck on the pole because he got double D dared. I think that's the way. Okay, let me get back on point here. But this is what he said. He's daring him now. In other words, he said, I wish you would put your hands on me. You'll regret the day you were born. Now, this is what Abel is saying to Cain. Still provoking him. Still provoking him. But now he's using the Lord. How many times when you go before tell somebody, you're wrong, y'all got my back. I ain't worrying about you. God got my back. God got me. God got me. Oh, really? Well, God had Abel too. And Abel's ass ended up dead. How about that? You go out here, you start provoking trouble, and something come back to you. You can talk all that God got you back, your crack, I'm using God, the dog word, because I know many of you can relate to that. But you can go out there talking about y'all got your back all you want. If you're in the wrong, y'all gonna say, yeah, I may redeem your ass at judgment, but right now you're gonna pay the price for your behavior. Right here on this earth. So I'm not gonna come rescue you when you're provoking things. Praise Yah. Verse 24. And then Canaan heard the words of Abel his brother had spoken, and behold, the anger of Cain was kindled against his brother. Why he got mad? Because his brother was talking crap to him, challenging him, insulting him, ridiculing him, provoking him to anger. That's what caused this premeditated murder. Well, again, maybe get a little ahead of myself. But I think you all are okay with it at this point. I think we know how this story ends. And Canaan heard these words from Abel his brother had spoken, and behold, his anger and the anger of Cain was so kindled against his brother Abel for declaring this thing, for what he said. What about he said, your words, you need to measure your words. You're going to be held accountable for every word that come out of your mouth. That's why, sisters, especially you, a lot of times you guys get yourself in harm's way, get yourself hurt because you won't guard your tongue. You just because you feel a certain way, you just want to say it. And then it brings about a chain reaction of events. And many times innocent people get hurt, many times are killed because of what you say. And some of you effeminized men, you're the same way because you're always in your damn emotions. Nobody can say something to you without you getting all worked up and flared up like Cain did. The time to man up, steel up, men. And sisters, you too. But you can't do it if you're not in the Word. You're not studying the Word. You're not strong in the Word. You're not resisting the devil. You're not resisting the temptation. You're walking head first into it. And again, when you do that, let me share with you what's going to end up happening. My sisters and my brothers. And Cain hastened and rose up, and he took the iron part of his plowing instrument, with which he suddenly hit his brother and killed him. And then Canaan spit the blood of his brother Abel upon the earth, and the blood of Abel streamed upon the earth before his flock. So now all this crap he's doing for his flock, now his ass is dead. And them damn flocks still gonna get off of Canaan's land. But many of you guys go out here, you never think about the long-term consequences of the decisions that you make. A lot of you guys are going out here, getting into all these kind of events, and then something goes down. You don't even think about your children you're going to leave behind. Your spouse you're going to leave behind. The people who love you, you're going to leave behind because of your own arrogance. Because you cannot guard yourself. You have no self-discipline. So the first time someone confronts you, even especially when you're wrong, instead of you humbling yourself and agreeing that, yes, I am wrong, and being repentant of it, you want to go back and forth until you provoke something violent, and then you want people to have mercy and pity on you. That's what it means by the blood flowing on the ground. Now it's the mercy blood. But it's too late now because he's dead. He's dead. I'm talking about Abel is dead. But he's not dead because Cain got jealous of the sacrifice. Yeah, Cain was bitter towards his brother. But he's dead because his brother provoked him to anger. Cain provoked his brother to anger. That's why Abel is dead. Abel provoked his brother to anger. That's why Abel is dead. And you know many people that way. And if some of you don't be careful and start to guard your tongue and watch your behavior, you're going to end up with the same fate. Or some of the people you love. Because you're not chastising them and you're not redirecting them. You're not challenging them with the word. The same fate is going to befall you or them because of your disobedience, your arrogance, and your quick to anger attitude and mindset. Praise Yah. Verse 26. And after this, Cain repented having slain his brother. He did what? Let me read this to you again. Because see, you don't hear this in church. You don't hear this in religion. But you're going to hear this on DFG Gideon Flight Channel. You're going to hear it right here. Say, after this, Canaan repented having slain his brother, and he was sadly grieved, and he wept over him, and it vexed him exceedingly. Oh, you didn't know that. See, we were taught that Cain was just jealous, killed him, tried to hide the crime, and went on about his business. That's a lie. That is not true. That is not the way things go down in real life. We all should have known better, but we had the wool pulled. How appropriate of terminology when we talk about sheep, right? We all had the wool pulled over our eyes by these religious doctors of these religious witch doctors, you follow me, who practice and play spells on us called religion and our ancestors. And so we all were walking in a lie, not knowing the full truth of this event, what really happened. Because see, if we know that this can happen, it'll challenge us on how we conduct, how we interact with ourselves. We would understand. Well, I know maybe I need to figure out a different way to say that because this could go bad and I ain't trying to hurt nobody and I ain't trying to get myself hurt. See, they don't want our people thinking like that. The heathens don't want us thinking this way, my brothers and my sisters. The heathens want us to be violent towards one another, to be irrational, just impulsively go out and kill, steal, murder, maim, cripple, etc. without any kind of rational or without any kind of reflective thought on why am I doing this? Is this absolutely necessary? Is there another way to get this problem resolved? But see, when Yah opened it up in Josh, he's letting you know, hey, this could have been avoided because all Abel had to do was just take his sheep and bring it back over on his own property. That's all he had to do. And he wouldn't have gotten himself killed. But no, he wanted to be a badass. And the consequences for his badass smack talking was death. The wages of sin is death. When you provoke someone, you're committing an act of aggression that can lead to death and destruction. Your own or someone else's. Praise Yah. But look at this. Cain wasn't celebrating killing his brother. This was what they would call, what do they call that? When someone kills someone in an act of rage. They wouldn't even consider this first degree murder. They would consider this probably second, third degree, murder or something along that line. Rage murder. They were angry and in a fit of rage. You call someone with your wife, you call someone with your husband, and you decide to, well, I shouldn't say wife and husband because those of you who know the book, you understand all that well beyond that. I'm going to take the time and tell you about that right now. But if somebody with your woman or somebody with your man and all of a sudden in jealous rage you hurt them or kill them, then the law looks upon that murder a little bit different than premeditated murder. All right? And this is what the situation was with Cain. Cain, got so angry, and before he knew, he snapped and he killed it, grabbed the damn piece of iron and smacked him. And, and next thing you know, blood flowing, his brother's down there dead. And now he's looking at it and saying, oh my goodness, what the hell have I done? And now he's, look at it. Let me tell you about Cain again. This is supposed to be, well, we were told, oh, wicked ass Cain. But how wicked, look at the man. After this, Cain repented, killing his brother, and was sadly grieved. You know what sadly grieved is? That means you can't be more grieved than that. You can't be more sorrowful than what you. Now you can not be any more sorrowful for the act of violence that you have committed. That's how Cain felt about killing his little brother. And he wept over him, and it vexed him exceedingly. You know what vex means? Is that he just drove him crazy that, man, in the act of rage, I killed my own brother. Now I could go on further, but we've already gone 45 minutes in this. If you stay with me this long, I appreciate you, and my love, my agape love to you is of the highest. And it's a story, and I'm hoping that we're, first of all, two things going on here. We need to know the truth. And the only way we're going to do the truth, we got to search the scriptures, my sisters and my brothers. We got to get teachers who are inspired by Yah to bring forth this information, this knowledge. We got to share this knowledge, my brothers and my sisters. And then secondly, we have to understand the dangers of being eagerly angered. We have to understand that. You cannot let your emotions get the best of you. All you're going to do is bring about debt, either to yourself or someone else. It may not be a physical debt. It could be a spiritual debt called separation. Ruining relationships, ruining friendships. Like many, families are separated because of words and provoking, and folk got angry, and now, the parents don't talk. The parents are fighting with the kids. The kids are taking sides with the parents. All kind of mayhem. Family, brothers and sisters don't get along. They don't talk. They don't speak to one another. And I can go on and on and on with this. Because why? There is no clear understanding of how to resolve conflict. There is no willingness to take wrong among us. And Yah said that we should always be merciful one to another. If my brother fails 7 times, how many times should I forgive him? 7? No, 70 times 7. Do the math. Do the math. But without understanding, we're going to continue to go down this road, guys, and that's the road of destruction. And the end of the road of destruction is death, and it has proven itself time and time again for our people. And I'm praying that Yah use this message in these end days to save some of us from a predestined but not predestined end. When I say it's predestined, because if you don't change, you're going that way. But it doesn't have to be that way. But you got to turn to Yah, my brothers and sisters. You got to turn back and let Yah heal your heart so that you can love your brothers, love your sisters. And understand we're just one nation under Yah. We are his people, the apple of his eye. But if we don't act like it, as the scriptures say, an eye for an eye leaves both men blind. And that's exactly what's going on in our nation, and it's going to continue to go on if we don't stop and change and learn how not to provoke one another to anger. And also to learn and understand respecting one another, because we all are deserving of respect. Because in respecting, you're honoring Yah, because you're respecting the people of Yah. Praise Yah. Whew. It's a lot. Love you, brothers. Talk to you tomorrow. Remember, we're getting back into Enoch. But I hope this message has been inspiring, encouraging for you. I hope it's revealed some truths to you. And I hope it's moving you away from religion. That's why we tell you, brothers and sisters who are still in these damn religions and these churches, come out. They're not teaching you the truth. If they were teaching the truth, how they missed all of this information? They're teaching the same lie right now. Y'all got mad because Cain didn't give him a sacrifice, and therefore Cain killed Abel because he just got jealous of his brother because Yah accepted his sacrifice. Never talking about how this whole event transpired between these two brothers, and it was about arrogance, it was about jealousy, it was about being territorial, it was about being selfish, honoring, etc. that brought about that first murder on this earth. Okay? All right, brothers. Love you, DFG. Talk to you soon. Bye now.